In this video, I want to talk about the 4 fundamentals of leadership. All the principles of leadership are the same. Like they're principles, they're foundational principles. The stories change, you know, you can dress them up and you can do stuff with them, but they're all, I mean, if you're going to be a great leader, you have to practice fundamental things about being a great leader. It's not about some kind of new age, you know, you can do this and you can do that.
Yeah.
No. It's just a handful of stuff that you have to consistently do, and people follow, period. You gravitate toward people that are consistent, people that are honest, people that don't lead with ego, they have humility. Like, people just gravitate toward those kinds of people. So it's really cool. That's what I was seeing this morning. The story of Naaman. He was a mighty man of valor, is the way the Bible describes him. He was a leper. All right. So back in those days, being a leper was like a death sentence. They put you in a leper colony. You were kind of an outcast. But Naaman was a mighty man of valor. He had all the leadership qualities. The king of Syria, he was with the king of Syria, and he had won many battles, brought a lot of money back to Syria. So in the course of time, the king heard through the grapevine, hey, if you can get Naaman in front of this prophet over here in Israel, if you can just get him in front of that prophet, he can cure him of the leprosy. He goes up to Elisha's place. Elisha don't even come out to meet him. Elisha sends one of his servants. Now, we're talking about a mighty man of valor, somebody who's battle-hardened. He has, 5-star general type. Well, he rides up to Elisha's house, and Elisha don't even come out to meet him. He sends one of his servants to go out there and said, Mr. Naaman, Elisha said, go bathe over there in that dirty river. If you'll just do that 7 times, just 7 times, you'll be fine. And Naaman got so pissed off. He was so mad. Like, it said, he used the word rage, and rage is like, and he even said, dude, I figured you was going to come out here and call down some kind of fire and do, strike the ground and shake the rocks and then I was going to give you $1 million worth of silver and some cool clothes and all this, and it was just going to kind of be a transaction. No, that's not how we're going to handle this. Go over and bathe in that dirty river. Well, he turns around. That's it. The transaction's over. He turns around to leave, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going back home with my leprosy. But one of his guys, one of the underlings or the subordinates, one of his subordinates said, hey, Naaman, come on, man. Like, why don't you you got nothing to lose. Why don't you just go do what he said do? How will that work out? And he said, if he'd have told you to do some kind of crazy something, you'd have done that. But the little bitty simple thing, why not just do that? I mean, what do you got to lose? So he goes and does it. Long story short, he goes and bathes in that river 7 times. Bam. Bible says that his flesh became as a little child. So he cleared right up.
Crazy.
Absolutely crazy. But then, so I'm reading the Bible, and I can't get over how many principled things are in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And people get so freaked out over the Bible. Like, we're not reading that. Like, that's some old spiritual book, and that's going to blah, 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 blah. Man, there is so much good stuff in it. Whatever you're involved in right then, if you're reading down through there, the principles, like that story right there has so many different applications. But just because I'm focused on leadership right now, because I'm reading Jocko's book, it just spoke leadership. Look at all the principles. And I wrote down 4 out of this story. Number 1, great leaders keep their emotions in check. Naaman was super mad. Like, he was mad to the max. He went to a DEFCON 4, but then shortly thereafter, he got back in range. So not only it's okay to get mad.
Right.
but pull that thing back in range pretty quickly. And that's exactly what he did, because he listened to his guy. So he was reasonable enough to where he could do that. And the number two thing that I was thinking about was, not only can you have to keep your emotions in check, but the principle from his underling or from his subordinate. Great leaders can lead from any position. You don't have to be top dog to give it out, to be a great leader. He was leading with humility from beneath. You know, he could see an error in a plan and say, hey, we need to reconsider. And he did it in such a way to where he did reconsider. The third one was great leaders listen. That's what Naaman did. He actually had to stop just a second and say, okay, let me check my anger and get back into range. Let me listen to what somebody else is saying. Okay, he showed real leadership when he listened to another point of view. Great leaders do that. They listen. They don't just my way or the highway, right. You know. And then the last thing was, great leaders remove ego from decisions and allow the best idea to win. And I've said it before that, you know, Steve Jobs has that thing, that interview where the lady was asking, did he do stuff wrong? And he's like, all the time. You know, we develop a culture, a place, great leaders allow the best idea to win, not their ego. Because when egos win, you're going to wreck. You're going to crash and burn. The takeaway on the thing was greatness. You know, I got to thinking about greatness. Great leaders do this. Great leaders do this. Great leaders do this. You can't practice greatness, but you can practice the fundamentals. Those four things, you can do those. You can't practice being great because somebody else is going to use that to describe you whenever you practice. You know, Jordan practiced the fundamental. He was so fundamentally sound. He was great. All those guys, Tom Brady, anybody in sports, that's where you can really see that greatness come out. Or we describe people as being the GOAT. And it's just because they do the fundamentals well. Yeah. They do them well. So, you know, practice the fundamentals and get to work.